Welcome back to the 1% Show. If you're new here, tune in to hear me spin the yarns with authors, savants, and eccentric humans every week. Today on the 1% Show, what would you say are the top 3 benefits that skateboarding has brought to your life?
Well, it's kind of like, for me at least personally, it's like a psychologically grounding thing. It's something to it motivates you and also it focuses you. So one of the reasons I wanted to get back into skateboarding was because at that time in my life, a few years ago, I was kind of aimless and I had always loved skateboarding. And once I stepped back on the board, I just remembered how when you're trying to learn tricks and you're just skating around, it really focuses your mind and it takes it off of any, anxieties or anything else that you're worried about. Okay. Number 1, this is one that you probably won't see in many how-to videos, is your motivation for why you want to learn how to skate. Because a lot of people will, when they're looking up tricks, they're looking up what they want to learn, but they're not thinking about why they want to learn.
We sort of take YouTube for granted. It's sort of just like the norm. I just can't imagine what it would be like without YouTube back then. So that's it.
Well, yeah, back in the day, if you wanted to learn a trick, you would have to go out and you would buy a VHS for like $20. So if you wanted to learn, first of all, you had to pay for it. And second of all, you had to go to the skate shop and buy like the Tony Hawk's trick tips or whatever it was. And you can't pause on a VCR. It's like all shaky and stuff. So yeah, nowadays we're way better off.
I'm your Aussie host, Brandon Nankivell, and it's time to kick back and enjoy the show. Let's go. You can get a free audiobook by signing up for a 30-day trial. Head to brandonnankovell.com/audible. That's Brandon, Brandon, Nankivell, Nankivell. Again, that's brandonnankovell.com/audible. I use Audible on the daily and have been for months. I use Audible to integrate reading into my daily activities like my morning walk, cooking food, and driving my car. You can do the same. Now, to be sure that Amazon doesn't bite my ass, I have to tell you guys that the 1% Show has no affiliation with Amazon. All proceeds will go directly into my pocket so I can buy myself a cup of coffee. Thanks guys, and head to brandonnankovell.com/audible to sign up for your 30-day trial and get a free audiobook. To the listeners listening in, I gotta get your name right, dude. We've got, how do you say your name again?
It's Vilas left.
That's right. Okay, yeah, so Vilas. Now, thank you. I found Vilas on YouTube. I've been really interested in accelerated learning lately, and I know some of you guys are too. And Vilas, he's got a channel where he teaches a lot of people how to do some fully sick skateboard tricks. And I came across this video called, I think it was 10 Easy Tricks for Beginners. Is that what it was, Vilas?
Yep, yeah, that was the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and you've got like a part 2 and you've got like intermediate tricks. So it really stood out to me. And I think, according to your stats, you got about almost 50,000 subscribers and I think almost 4 million views. So that's a pretty good effort, man.
Yeah, man, I just hit 50,000 a couple days ago. Super excited about it.
Wow, that's incredible. So yeah, basically today I'm going to ask you, Vilas, a few questions about how you got into skateboarding, how we could become better skateboarders, a few questions about how you learnt it, how you built the channel, all that sort of thing. Could you just give a brief overview of who you are and where you come from?
Yeah, okay. So my name is Vilas, and I live in San Diego, California, and just like us Southern California people, I'm a skateboarder, like most of us, and just got into the YouTube game about 3 years ago, and just been going from there.
Yeah, how did you get into the YouTube game? What made you want to pull out your camera and start filming?
Well, really, what it was is I didn't actually start on YouTube. I started on Facebook, and I got a camera for my birthday a few years ago, and I just started putting up videos at the same time. So I actually had a New Year's resolution where I was going to land 365 tricks, one for every day of the year. And I was going to film it, and I was just putting it up for friends on Facebook. And after a couple of weeks, I just started throwing them up on YouTube, and just turned into a whole thing from there.
Cool, man. All right. So can you take us back to when you were 14 years old?
All right. So 14 years old, I think it's like middle school, 7th or 8th grade. That is actually the year that I got into skateboarding. I was just a stupid, wasn't really doing anything. I went to the store. I think I went to Walmart, and in the video game section, they used to have set up where you could play the video games in the store. And I remember going in there and I saw some kid and he was playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Oh, like what the heck that was. And yeah, and I just knew I had to have that game. And I found a kid who I didn't even know, and he had that game, and I was so desperate for that game. I didn't have the money to buy it, but I gave him like $5 and a few of my games in order to like rent it from him for 3 days, just because I had to play it. And I got that game and I was so happy. And then like a few days later, I got my parents to go out, get me a skateboard, and I started skateboarding that year, and it was just the best.
That's awesome, dude. Gotta love good old Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Okay, cool. And so you've pretty much been skateboarding since, yeah?
Well, no, actually, so I started when I was about 14 and I skateboarded through high school. So I don't know what that was, maybe like 4 years. And then I quit skateboarding altogether because, like I turned 18, had to get a job, had to live in like a real person, pay bills and this and that. And I don't know. I quit for about not 10 years, maybe 8 years. And it wasn't until I started this YouTube channel about 3 years ago that is actually when I started skating again.
Okay, so how old are you then?
Right now, I'm 29.
Okay, so why... I know you've already answered that. I was going to say, why did you get into skateboarding? But you saw Tony Hawk's and you thought it was pretty... Okay, why did you get into the skateboarding? Yep. So you saw like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and you thought, shit, I'm going to go out and get my skateboard. Is that how it went?
Yeah, no, it was like just this weird thing where like I saw the game, and before that I had never really thought about skateboarding. It just wasn't in my world. And then something about it, the game, it had like the music and the culture, and something about that was so like cool. I wanted to be a part of it. And so I don't know, after seeing it, I went to a skate shop just to kind of see what the vibe was like. And like just seeing those boards on the wall, I had to have one. I had to ride it and see what the deal was.
Yeah, fucking oath. Could you describe the skateboarding culture or the skateboarding vibe? Is that something you can verbalize?
Yeah, I mean, so just like any other culture, skateboarding, it's very fluid and it's changed over the years. I think, there's like different styles that come and go and different people. But I mean, there's like the core elements of skateboarding. Number one, people will tell you it's just about having fun. Like as hard as you try, no matter what level you're at, it's all about fun. And then, of course, there's like it's always had this like almost like a punk mentality where it's like, counterculture. Even though now it's getting more popular, it still is kind of like, counterculture to do that. Like get into skateboarding, you're breaking the law, going and skating at spots and all that stuff. So yeah, it's kind of just got this good like vibe to it where like everyone is a close knit community, but like we're kind of away from the mainstream.
Okay, sure thing. Is there sort of like subgroups within the skate culture? Like, I'm just wondering, like, are there public misconceptions about skaters just sort of being like, I don't know, drug dealers and people that break the law all the time? Or is there actually like separate groups where some people aren't breaking the law and some people are just like, I don't know, your everyday person? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Sure. There's for sure, like, people will say that skateboarding is just one community, we're all like part of it, but just like anything else, there are different like cliques within skateboarding, different styles of people. And yeah, there are like the people who give it a bad name, the cliche skater that you see, like they're messing with like the security guards and the cops and like, yeah, maybe they're doing drugs, whatever. But like, you're going to find that in any other aspect of life pretty much. But like for the most part, skateboarders, like we are pretty much one big group with different, like there's just different types of people within skateboarding. So, you'll end up with bad apples and, awesome people. So it's just how it goes.
So when you like rock up to a new skate park, do you sort of just automatically become friends with people because you've both got this passion for skateboarding, or do you not talk to each other, or what's sort of the vibe?
Yeah, no, that was one of the things that like for the longest time, even now when I started skating and like I'm much older and like I should, have some social, like be better at socializing with people. I was nervous to go to skate parks because like I don't want to look like the like nerd who doesn't know anyone there and like I'm not as good as other people. So I came into skate parks just recently, started going again, and I was afraid of that whole like, being the loner. But like I was surprised that like you don't know anyone there and they're so welcoming. Like you can be skating by yourself in the corner and you do a trick and you'll just hear someone like, cheer you on that you didn't even know was watching you. Like everyone is so nice within skateboarding. Like, it's just an awesome community, especially skate parks. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. did you get discouraged when you were learning new skateboard tricks? Did you ever feel like quitting or?
No. So my whole thing when I first started skating again, it was that resolution I told you about where I'm trying to learn all the different tricks. And like, of course that's not going to realistically happen where every single day you're learning a new trick because they take time and they take effort and they can be really frustrating. So I never put myself in the position to be discouraged. It was more that I set realistic goals. And then if something wasn't working out, then I just, try something else. And you just find what you can do and you build off of that, or else you are going to lead to frustration. And then that's going to kill your motivation.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. And did you sort of just play around with tricks yourself, or did you watch YouTube tutorials or learn from your mates? How did you go about learning?
So when I first started skateboarding, there was no YouTube. So the only thing that you could do is watch a skate video and, get inspired, try doing what you see, but there was no one explaining to you how to do it. So I just, you learn with your friends and you all kind of just feed off each other's vibes. But then later when I came back to skateboarding just recently, that's like the whole world was different. I opened YouTube and you search how to do any trick and you'll find like 1,000 videos on how to do that trick broken down. And it's gotten so much easier to access that information. So yeah, anything you want, it's at your fingertips.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I don't want to make you sound old, old dude, but yeah, like I'm 22 and I think sometimes people my age, we sort of take YouTube for granted. It's sort of just like the norm. I just can't imagine what it would be like without YouTube back then. So that's
back in the day, if you wanted to learn a trick, you would have to go out and you would buy a VHS for like $20. So if you wanted to learn, first of all, you had to pay for it. And second of all, you had to go to the skate shop and buy like the Tony Hawk's trick tips or whatever it was. And you can't pause on a VCR. It's like all shaky and stuff. So yeah, nowadays we're way better off.
Incredible, dude. Okay, so my next question is, what's your favorite trick and why, and how did you go about learning it?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's like what's your favorite song? It changes all the time. Because it's different because it's like, what's your favorite trick just in general, or what's your favorite trick that you yourself can do? So like, I don't know. For me, tricks are a lot about the way that they feel, not so much the way that they look. So I'm kind of like into the tricks that I can do really well. So I'm going to have to stick with it. I've always said my favorite trick is called the impossible, ironically enough.
And could you describe that trick for us to a non-skateboarder?
Yeah,
see how you go.
So let's see if I can visualize this, put it into words. So basically, you're standing on your board like you would just regular riding, and you pop the board up, say like you're going to do an ollie, except your front foot comes off the board. And then with your back foot, you actually you push and scoop on the tail. So the board actually ends up wrapping around your back foot and does a 360 motion. And then you land back on the board. So your back foot's in contact the entire time. And it kind of almost does a backflip and you land back on it.
Radical, dude. If anyone wants to see that in visual form, I'm sure you've got one on your YouTube channel, yeah?
Yes, I do. Yep. Yeah.
Sweet as. I'll give you an opportunity to share that with everyone at the end of the podcast.
Sure.
Cool. But for now, we'll move on. So what's the riskiest thing you've tried during your skateboarding years?
Risky? Well, I used to be a lot more carefree when I was skateboarding when I was younger, because, you can bounce back when you're young and you get hurt, but it's not as bad as when you're older. I used to skate a lot bigger of obstacles. So back in the day, I was all about doing the biggest stair set I could or the biggest gap. And so there were some pretty sketchy moments where, trying like, I would mainly say tricks down big stair sets where, I don't know, you may not have the best control of your board and you're just basically hucking your body and a piece of wood down the stairs and hoping you land on it. And yeah, sometimes it ends good and sometimes it ends bad. So yeah, there's been some injuries, but it was worth it.
Yeah, cool as, dude. All right, so next I've got here is you set a resolution of landing 365 tricks. We've sort of been through that. So I'll move on to, what would you say are the top 3 benefits that skateboarding has brought to your life?
Well, it's kind of like, for me, at least personally, it's like a psychologically grounding thing. It's something to it motivates you and also it focuses you. So one of the reasons I wanted to get back into skateboarding was because at that time in my life, a few years ago, I was kind of aimless and I had always loved skateboarding. And once I stepped back on the board, I just remembered how when you're trying to learn tricks and you're just skating around, it really focuses your mind and it takes it off of any, anxieties or anything else that you're worried about. And it really just can keep you centered. And then besides that, there's the obvious, like physical benefits. I might have not been in the best shape. I wasn't doing anything for a few years. And skateboarding, it really is a good workout if you're really going for it, You can, I don't know, it's great for that. And then lastly, I would say that for me, it's like the sense of community. It's really awesome. Just skateboarding, like what we were talking about with the skate parks. You can go somewhere and you see another skater and it's like the unspoken bond where, you're just part of this culture. It's just awesome.
Yeah, wow. That really sort of resonates with me in a way. Because when I used to ride a unicycle, we'd share sort of similar benefits with the whole culture and keeping yourself fit and all that sort of stuff. So that's partly why I got the skateboard there. I sit in my room and I do a lot of business stuff all day, every day in like the same environment. I'm like, man, this is driving me nuts. So I got the skateboard. I figure I'll use it to, go down to my local skate park and then just meet up with some skaters and start challenging myself with tricks. And then you also get that social bond as well. You start bonding with the skaters.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get fit and healthy, you get some fresh air, you get a change in environment, you get to challenge yourself. I mean, there just seems to be so many benefits.
Yeah, exactly, man.
All right, cool, dude. So what are the 3 things beginners need to know to become better skateboarders as fast as possible?
Okay. Number 1, this is one that you probably won't see in many how-to videos, is your motivation for why you want to learn how to skate. Because a lot of people will, when they're looking up tricks, they're looking up what they want to learn, but they're not thinking about why they want to learn. And I always say, if someone wants my help to learn a trick or learn anything, then I'm going to ask them why they want to learn it. Because if their reason is that they want to look cool, then I don't think that's a good motive. It's not a good reason because you're not going to be motivated to actually put in the work to do a trick or something like that. Your reasoning should be, something good. Like you want to do it to better your life. You want to do it because you want to be a part of something or you just want to push your limits, whatever it might be. You just have to have a good, solid foundation for a reason of why you want to do it. You have to know why. And let's see, number 2, I would say that it definitely helps. You can look up how-to videos all you want. And at the end of the day, it's good to understand how something works, like fundamentally the physics of, say, like a trick that you want to learn. But really, it is about practice. It's about going out there and actually applying it. Because, you can sit there and watch 100 videos, but at the end of the day, you're just sitting in a chair. You have to go out there and apply it. And lastly, I would say maybe just it is good to have other people around you who are into the same thing. It's not necessary, but when you have support and people who are cheering you on and it motivates you, it gives you that good feeling of accomplishment or even just, brotherhood, having other skaters around you, that really is good for a beginner or someone trying to learn.
Yeah, wow. You just fucking nailed some really excellent points there. And I think a lot of them pretty much can apply to many areas of life. It's funny what you said about being surrounded by other people in the skate community, skateboarding with others to sort of accelerate your learning. I did find the same thing when I used to ride my unicycle. As soon as we met up at a competition or event, all of a sudden, it just created this environment where everyone was just fucking slaying it. Like, everyone would learn new tricks and you challenge each other and you go, oh, first one to do a fucking 360 unispin or crank flip wins. And then everyone would just get pumped up and would start all doing crank flips, trying shit we would have never tried on our own because now we've got mates around us doing it. And when you actually see someone else land a trick that you haven't landed, in my experience and a lot of other unicyclists' experience, maybe for skateboarders too, all of a sudden it sort of becomes much more real. When you see that trick done right in front of you, it's sort of, I don't know, just in my experience, I've seen so many more unicyclists then land that trick that they've been trying for ages just because they can see it right in front of them. And all of a sudden it just becomes more real. And you've got like a guide to help you who's already landed the trick. So then you can sort of ask for some tips. And I think that's definitely, one of the fastest ways you can really accelerate yourself, not just with, skateboarding or unicycling, but even all areas of life. So I'm really glad you bring that up.
Yeah, it's the same thing in skateboarding. You feed off of the energy that you see. So if there's people around you, whether they're better than you or worse than you, if you see them just trying and progressing, it's going to push you to do the same thing.
Fantastic. So moving on, if there was one lesson we could take away from this talk today to make our lives 1% better, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, let's see. I would have to say probably you can take these like ideas that I've been saying about skateboarding, and you really can apply them to pretty much any facet of your life that you're trying to improve. Because, like, say the three things that we just said, you can surround yourself with people with anything that you're trying to do, and it doesn't have to be, skateboarding or a unicycle. It could be anything. It could be public speaking, or it could, whatever, kayaking, whatever it is. And having a good group of people to support you is what's going to keep you motivated to keep progressing. And I think that that's one of the most important parts in life, is having like that net of people around you who are going to keep you make you be your best self.
Are a lot of your friends now who you met through skateboarding by any chance?
No, actually, I literally have 0 friends who skateboard.
Oh, okay.
Every single friend every friend I had growing up, they stopped way long ago. Back when I did, they just didn't pick it back up when I did. So I do have a few people who are like acquaintances, but they're more people who I've met through YouTube, and they don't necessarily live around here. They're like, off in different states or countries, but I don't actually have any immediate friends who are from skateboarding or who still skateboard.
Sure thing. So what's daily life looking like for you now then?
Well, right now I'm kind of in like this, I don't know if you'd call it fortunate, but an interesting situation where I'm a full-time student. And so I don't have to go, I don't have to go work right now or anything. So I do have pretty much all day to skateboard and that's not what I do all day, but I have plenty of time to improve my craft and work on what I'm trying to, the end goal that I'm trying to reach with this whole YouTube channel and skateboarding and progressing. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a unique position where I actually have a lot of time that I can dedicate towards that.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, you're doing really well. I've personally found your video super helpful, and clearly a ton of other people have, because you're getting a lot of hits, man. It's great to see.
Yeah, man. People like those how-tos.
Okay, so now we've just got some sort of fun questions. Now, half of these probably don't apply to skateboarders, but I figure, why not? Let's just ask them and see what happens. So are you ready for it?
Sure thing. Yep.
All right, cool, dude. The first one is, when you think of the word successful, who's the first person that comes to mind and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see. Oh, that's actually kind of tough. Successful. I don't know who in particular, like no one like in particular comes to mind, because success is such a spectrum. It depends on what you consider successful. There are a few people who, I think of success in my realm as like, you're making a living doing what you love. And so there are like people, like, I don't know if you know, like the vlogger John Hill. He's a skateboarder and a vlogger.
Okay.
So someone like him, he skateboards, and he just films himself skateboarding, having fun. And it's become he has such an infectious personality that he has created a huge following. And that's allowed him to do so many other things, like create companies and, go on all these amazing trips and this and that. And I think that it's success to me would be being able to do what you love while also still being able to present what you want to your audience.
Sure thing. Have you ever thought, like, maybe you could build your own life around this VL skate channel? Because, you've got a lot of traction there, dude.
Yeah, man. It wasn't until, like, I don't know, a couple of months ago that it really started to pick up. It was when I made that first 10 easy beginner tricks video that, like, I came back a month later and I looked at it. And I was expecting it to have, like, 1,000 views. And, like, I think it's up to, like, 1 million, more than 1 million now. And so it wasn't until that happened that I was like, okay, maybe this can actually be something other than a hobby. And then that's why I started making more of these how-to videos aimed at beginners, is because those are the ones that are really, catching on and doing the best. And so that's showed me that it is possible, if I really work hard enough, that this could be something that sustains my lifestyle and, that kind of thing. It's really exciting.
Yeah, man. Like, I fully believe it. I reckon if you wanted to, you could, dude. Just based on the traction you've got, and based on the things I've seen people achieve in my life, and I could just see that really being a possibility, man. Like, I don't know, you could, just throwing out some ideas, you could create like I don't know, a skateboarding video course where you cover like literally everything from A to Z that beginners need to know and whip it up for like $47 online and just be like, yo guys.
I thought that exact thing. I have a notepad right here in front of me that has that idea written on it. Like I'm going to make a series like that that's like A to Z from complete, like I don't know what a skateboard is to like more advanced things. And I thought of the idea too, because I know that there are some other bigger YouTube channels who they have made like DVDs and stuff where they actually sell them. But I don't think I'm ready to like charge for the knowledge, you know? I'd rather just put it out there, and I don't know. I don't feel good yet about the idea of like actually monetizing like knowledge, you know? I don't know. But I'm definitely going to do something along those lines someday.
Cool, man. No, great to hear. All right. So my next question is, do you have a favorite documentary or movie?
Oh, that's a good one too. There's so many. My life is like skateboarding and watching documentaries. Like anything from BBC is just amazing. Planet Earth. Like I could watch that all day long. I don't know. It's wonderful. I would say probably the most recent one that is really good for me. I mean, these have nothing to do with skateboarding, but they're inspiring for some reason. But I really like Ken Burns, his documentary series. He has one about the war, about World War II. And I don't know if you've seen it or heard of it, but it's like 17 hours of like, it's 8-part documentary, and it's just, it's amazing. It's so in depth and it's great. I love those.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. I'll keep that in mind. Next question. What purchase of $100 or less has made a positive impact in your life in the last 6 months? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Oh man, let's see. I mean, it would probably be skateboard related when I think about it, but I'm sure there's something cooler than that. $100 or less. I don't know, maybe like some sunglasses, because my eyes always really hurt when I'm out skating.
Sure. Do they come off when you're skating?
Well, I normally don't skate with them on, but I actually have some like medical eye issues. So if I'm out there skating for long enough, I have to wear them. And generally, I'm pretty good at like, I have a really weird skateboard style where they wouldn't even have the opportunity to fall off. I don't really look down much.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Do you have any morning rituals? And if not, what does the first 60 minutes of your day usually look like?
Let's see. Well, I'm the type who I wake up and I lay in bed for about the first 30 to 45 minutes, and I just lay there trying to wake up. I'm not really a morning person at all. So yeah, I'll wake up and, I got my phone next to me, and I like to go through all of my business before I get out of bed. So emails, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. I take care of that first, and then I get up, because I just like to have that out of the way. Then I can get up and just be clear for the day.
Yeah, sweet as, man. What obsessions, aside from skateboarding, do you explore in the evenings or weekends? Any sort of side hobbies or side interests?
Oh, yeah, man. Music, just music in general. I started playing guitar maybe a little bit earlier, actually, than I started skateboarding. And so I've been playing guitar, and that branched out into other instruments. And actually, during the interim between when I skated when I was younger and when I just started again, that was one of the reasons why I wasn't skating. I was in a band for, 4 or 5 years, and was doing the whole music scene for a while.
Oh, wow. So when you say the whole music scene, were you like hitting up, local pubs and stuff, playing music and shit?
We were playing, we played some local venues here and there. We had a tour up the west coast of the US, going up California and Washington, Oregon. And yeah, we were doing it really hard for a while. And I thought that was going to be my future career. But, most of the time when you're in a band, it's like 10% of them actually make it anywhere. So we were in the other 90%.
Yeah, I get you. So what was just going on a tangent here, how did your very first live performance come about?
So let's see, I was on, this was back in the MySpace days. So wow. I was on MySpace, and I had some mutual friends from back in high school, and they happened to post something about needing a guitarist for their new band. And on a whim, I had nothing better to do. I decided just to go for it and go try it out. And so I went over there. They had a studio, and I played with them. And after the first day, they asked if I wanted to be in the band, and I was down. Months after that, or maybe not months, a few weeks after that, they had a show already lined up, and I joined in, and I was part of the band. And yeah, it was invigorating in a whole different way.
Awesome. So glad I asked that question. we've got just a couple more. What is the best or most worthwhile investment you've made? And that can be an investment of time, money, energy, or any other resource. And how did you decide to make that investment?
Honestly, I would have to say buying a GoPro. Like that camera is, I started skateboarding again to do the resolution tricks, but that idea was not even in my mind until I got a GoPro. I remember going on YouTube and seeing footage in like super slow-mo from the GoPro. And I didn't know why, but I really wanted to buy one. I didn't even have anything to film. I was just going to film my dog jumping in the backyard. But once I had the GoPro, I was like, it would look really cool to film myself trying to do a skateboard trick. And it did look really cool to me. And then that is what start skating again, was because that's why I started the whole series of the resolution tricks. It was just that one camera just is what this all stemmed from.
Sweet as. I reckon they're up to like Hero 5 now, and they just film in like, I don't know, I think they're doing like 4K resolution, and they've got like tons of like speed settings. I think you can record in like, I don't know, 120 frames per second. It's just insane.
I'm using my original GoPro right now, and it broke yesterday, so time to buy a new one.
Oh, okay. Do you have a quote you live your life by or think about often?
So I'm really into science, and as a result, I'm really into, I don't know if you know who he is, but Carl Sagan. He was a really, really awesome astronomer who, he was a really great popularizer of science. And he just has some amazing quotes just about life and the universe. And so pretty much any of his go, but his classic quote that I love is just, somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. Because it's just like, if it's not applying it to like, discovering something new, but you can apply that to like, I don't know what's going to happen next, like with any of the stuff that's going on, but like, it's all about going out there and figuring it out for yourself. And it's just about discovery, like, whether it's progressing and like figuring out what you're going to do next with your life or any aspect of your life. I don't know. It applies for me.
Cool, man. Awesome to hear. And to the listeners listening in, a lot of us are fans of books. There is a book called, I think he wrote Science is a Candle in the Dark or something along those lines by Carl Sagan. Now, I could be wrong. So sorry, everyone, if that's wrong. I don't know if you know. But that's just, an interesting book I read I believe it was by Carl Sagan about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So really
that's it's called The Demon Haunted World. And then the subtitle is Science as a Candle in the Dark. That's his, yeah.
There we go, dude. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, cool. So where do you see yourself in 3 years from now?
Well, ideally, I see myself continuing doing what I'm doing on YouTube, and hopefully, kind of like what we discussed, I do want to step it up. I'm not exactly sure which route I'm going to go, but I would genuinely like to turn this whole YouTube experience into something that I can make a living off of. I want it to be like, I really find it fun and inspiring to teach people. I never thought I would. It wasn't really like a plan of mine, but just seeing the response, it's kind of like a feedback loop, and I like, it drives me to keep going. So I'm just hoping that I'm going to continue to grow what I'm doing on YouTube and beyond. And hopefully it'll be something that I can, make a living off of and continue having fun.
Awesome. So where on social media can we support you?
Let's see. Mainly, I would say just go to youtube.com/VLskate, or you can just go on YouTube and search for how to ollie, whatever it is, and you'll probably find my video on there. I'm also on Instagram at VLskate, and that's about it.
All right. Awesome, man. I'll leave your links in the descriptions below of this podcast, wherever it's distributed, most likely on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube itself. So I just want to thank you again for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate your time, one of your most valuable assets that you're sharing with us today. So yeah, thanks again, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
If you'd like 3 gold nuggets from the book I'm currently reading, packed into a short, entertaining weekly email, then head to brandonnankivell.com/subscribe. This is also the best way to interact with me and keep up with what I'm doing. Again, head to brandonnankivell.com/subscribe. As usual, thank you for listening, my friends. I release new episodes every week. Make sure you don't miss one by subscribing. It's super easy and means a lot to me. Go to iTunes, search for The 1% Show, and click subscribe. Once again, I'm your host, Brandon Nankivell, and I'll see you in the next episode.